Hi, I'm Rebecca M. Zornow. I'm a science fiction writer, a speculative fiction book coach, and author of It's Over or It's Eden. We're going to talk today about what my writing process is like as an indie author. But first, we're going to talk a bit about what I did this month. So, I've been working on my next current work in progress, and I'm 30,000 words in, which is nice. So if you have watched any of my other videos, you might remember that for this book I'm taking pieces of an old draft, recycling them, fixing them, and adding new story elements. And so I did have some words that I had on the page and just went back and fixed, but there's lots of new scenes, new chapters. I feel like I can really see how to make the storyline work as opposed to when I wrote it, half a decade ago, what was going on with my 6 character point of views. So I did a lot of writing for that, kind of first drafting. I signed up for TikTok this month. I hear there's lots of authors, lots of readers. I've enjoyed being on Twitter and being a part of the writing community there. So curious to see what it's all about. I submitted a personal essay to a publication, sent out my author blog and newsletter, ordered my 2022 planner. I'm always so excited to start with a new planner and set out my goals for the year. And I also met with my business mentor. I have a business mentor through SCORE. There's a local chapter in my area. If this is something that you're curious about, check and see if there's a local chapter in your area for free business coaching. It's been a wonderful experience, and I really enjoy meeting with my mentor. So that's what I was working on this month, in addition to book coaching things, in addition to some volunteer work for nonprofits. It's been a busy month, so I've been glad to get in and do a lot of writing. Let's talk about my writing routine. So like I just mentioned, I have a lot of other different projects and areas I'm working on. I have a young family, meaning my kids are young, but I think I'm pretty young too. And so I try and prioritize my own writing time. I try and prioritize my client time, of course, helping with their writing projects. And then I find out where I can squeeze in the volunteer work, squeeze in kind of the additional projects that, spring up. But really the family schedule, as it changes every year, like last year we were virtual with school. This year my kids are in school, but my 4-year-old is just in 4K in the mornings. This was very different when they were younger and, babies and toddlers. And so I feel like as long as I have flexibility and I'm willing to evolve around the family schedule, I always find time, because this is a big priority to me. And I think that when you make things a priority, they happen. So just a little disclaimer that this is an ongoing changing schedule, and I'm actually going to show you, I'm going to show you one of my TikToks that I made because it's of my writing office. So check it out. This is my writing space. Let me give you a tour. We've got our travel world map. I won this. I was a champion horseback rider. And shells from Sanibel Island in Florida, and then just stuff to kind of keep me organized, binders and things that I don't really want to look at. Instead, I get to look at usually my feet. Got my couch, which doubles as a guest bed, and then my bookshelves. I've got copies of my book. Look at them all lined up. Print copies so I can take them to indie bookstores and fairs. And then I have my reading books alphabetically, my nonfiction books, and then the top shelf is things that I'm kind of working on or working with. Finally, there's my desk. This is actually an old desk from a hotel, so it's nothing fancy. I did put new handles on it. And then I do most of my writing here. I've got my monthly calendar. Me and some friends do a vision board every January. So this year I wanted to pay off my house, check. My husband and I wanted to increase our giving to nonprofits. It's always been something that's super important to us, but we decided to kind of take a different angle this year. Get a book out, check. Oh yeah, I can say check, but most of our giving is for December matches and things like that, so half check.
I wanted to make more money this year, which I did, check. Focus on getting out in nature, green spaces, hiking. My family took a trip to Yellowstone for 3 weeks and Idaho, so definitely check. And then update my wardrobe. After 2020, when I wasn't really buying any clothes, like it was just time to refresh things. So check. I've got another bulletin board up there with some very personal kind of visioning and my current book project stuff. So we haven't known each other very long. We'll save that for another time. And then I've got my little basket with papers, my beautiful paperweight, and then I won the Hal Prize in 2020 for a nonfiction essay, and I got this handmade mug, and that's where I keep my writing gloves. Other than that, it's just my planner and my computer.
So I do really enjoy having a nice, clear office space to work in, but beyond cleaning it, keeping it updated, making sure I have any books and tools at hand that I need, I really don't get into big sitting down to write fuss. Like I don't light a candle. I don't set out my things a certain way. I'm not a very superstitious writer. We think of sports players who they wear the same socks to try and get it. But I feel like my schedule is so busy, I just need to be able to have the mindset where I'm going to sit down and write, and the writing is going to happen because that's what I'm focusing on that moment. So there are times where I do have some extra time to brew myself a cup of tea or, take a walk first to get the ideas going. But most of the time, like this morning, I just woke up at 6:30, a little bit earlier than everybody else, like 20 minutes early, and just got some words down on paper. I do prefer mornings, and I usually do my writing in one block during the day, whatever biggest block I can find. So sometimes that's conveniently while my kids, are off at school in the morning. Sometimes that's in the evening, and I just find that for me personally, the mornings are best for me because that's when I have the most energy. I feel like that's when I do really well with originality. When I'm writing in the evenings, it can kind of feel like a drag. I'm not a night owl at all. So getting down actually to it, what do I do when I write? I'm a big outliner. So one of the first things I do when I sit down to write, I was saying I'm not superstitious and, light a candle or set up, my arrangement of stuff. But I guess this kind of fills that need. The first thing I do when I sit down to write is I check my outline. I have spreadsheets. I have this little packet of papers, which this is my next book, guys. And I look back through to see what I'm supposed to be writing that day. And I'm pretty specific in my outlines, both in terms of what actions need to happen and in terms of what emotions or development the character needs to go through, any mystery stuff that we need to pop in. But though my outline, runs from the beginning of the book to the end, there's still a lot of space in between chapters and in between scenes that I add in as I go. So I check that out first thing, get orientated with what I'm supposed to be writing, and then I open up my document and I find that instead of just starting out writing the chapter, taking maybe 2 minutes to write out the beats of the scene or the beats of that chapter, like this character is going to do this, they're going to have a fight about this, this is going to be revealed, these are the things. That helps me, one, that I don't get over flustered that oh my gosh, this is a pivotal chapter and it's just too much and I can't handle it, and freeze up. It's easier just writing, a couple bullet points about what has to happen. And that also helps me later in my writing process where if I get stuck, I don't really get stuck because I know what's coming. It's usually just a mental oh, I'm getting tired, kind of stuck. Not I don't know what's going to happen next, which really works for me. I want to know that my chapter or my scene is going to work out well, plot-wise and theme-wise before I invest, a couple hours sitting there and writing it out. I hate going back and deleting things, but you do what you can. So that's the second thing I do. I sit down and I write those beats out. And then the third is I write through them. I go through those beats and I delete them as I write them in proper long form narration and dialogue, so I can see my list of beats growing shorter, which is a good motivator for me. and it really helps me get momentum. I feel like you probably understand this too as a writer. Like there's sometimes where you just have like a flow state, and maybe it's not easy, or maybe it's not like the most beautiful writing, but you're like engaged with the scene, like you can write and there's not a lot of pauses. Like I try to get into that mindset, and I don't know exactly what I do to get into that mindset, except just make myself keep writing until I get there, which I guess that's a trick. And I do take a few quick breaks like during my writing process if like I get to the end of one of the like action beats and it's like I just need to stand up and like get a drink of water, or like stand up and look out the window for a minute, just to let my brain like reset, let my fingers rest from typing so fast. I think it's important to like have a defined action to do on a break and then get back into writing. Otherwise, you look around and you see something that needs to happen, or you check Twitter or whatever, and you get off task. Number 4, at the end of the beats, once I get to that bottom of the list of the things that I had wanted to write into that chapter, I go back to the beginning of the chapter. And this is it's not editing, okay? If you go back and you try and edit yourself, you will just get lost and messed up in, a labyrinth, and like you'll never get out of there because there will always be more editing work to do. But if you don't yet know, like if you're even going to keep that scene, for instance, it doesn't make sense to do line edits and proofreading. So what I do is I go back to the beginning of the chapter and I just kind of skim my way through it. And if I get the sense that like, gosh, it's kind of stingy with the paragraphs, they're all like really short here, or like, wow, it's just dialogue, there's no tags, like I fill in some things to break up like some dialogue, like, oh, where are they standing, like around each other, like help us get orientated with the space, what are we smelling, what are we hearing outside of the conversation, like help slow things down, because in that flow state, like I find I can kind of knock the action beats out. But while it's still fresh in my mind, while I still have like the tone of what I was writing, and I still have some of those like details in my head, I just go back through that scene or chapter and fill those things in so that they don't get lost, and so that when I come to it fresh next time, then I can focus not so much on building, but refining and developing further. And then the 5th thing I do as part of my writing process is I update whatever tracker I'm using at the moment. I love goal setting, and I love getting to, tick off a box, or my husband made me an Excel spreadsheet this year that has like, I can update the numbers that I'm working on, and then like my little tracker like grows in the spreadsheet. I know a lot of writers do this. They have like a notebook that they'll like, shade in something or draw a picture of, or some people will take like a rock and move it to a different bowl on their desk to show progress. Like I think that it's nice to reward ourselves at the end of our writing chunk for that day, and like recognize like, yeah, we did the work and it felt good. So that really is my writing process. There's a lot more to it in terms of like, do I write every day, or what does that look like? But that really all depends on where I'm at in the annual calendar, where I'm at, with my family calendar and stuff like that. I make it a priority to write every day when I'm like drafting a book out, but that changes too. I think overall it's important to be flexible, and trying to write every day, or trying to do this writing process every day, is great for my writing muscle. But, sometimes things come up where you need a break. So what's next? I have a book signing this Saturday at a local bookstore in my area. I'm really looking forward to that. It's Small Business Saturday. Now that I met with my business coach, I'm meeting with my financial coach, and I started meeting with her last year, and she had some really great insights. And as I'm getting to prepare for goal setting this month, like I just want to make sure like I have their perspectives, and I'm thinking through like where I really want to go next. Along with that, I'll update my vision statement, which hangs like over my desk. That was the thing I didn't show in the TikTok video. It's very specific and pretty personal. Maybe I'll show it someday when like It's all true. Um, In addition to doing that, I go back through my business plans, both for Conquer Books and then for me as a writer. I set goals for 2022 in my new planner that's coming. Like I have a day where I do like an at-home writing retreat, and then that helps me feel like throughout the year I have a plan and I don't have to reinvent, the career wheel every month or every week. Like I can go back to my plan and be like, yes, this all made sense when I laid it out, like just keep to it. So I'm going to do a lot of that stuff this coming month, December. And then my blog, newsletter, social media stuff. I'm going to decide between, I'm not sure if I'm going to submit like a new essay or short story, or if I'm going to go back and pick out some projects that I submitted throughout the year, maybe even like submitted twice or 3 times this year that it still hasn't like found a home to be published in. I might go back and collect the list of those things and like just do a lot of submissions to have a lot of irons in the fire. We'll see. And then I have a loose goal for writing, get to 75,000 words. My goal for this book is it to be between 100 and 115,000 words. So I think maybe somewhere around like 60 or 75,000 words is a good place to be by the end of this month. So that's everything. That's my month. Good luck to all of you who are finishing up with Nano this month and kind of doing the last bit of writing before the year ends. If you do have goals or any kind of process about when you write, or goals as the end of the year is coming, things you want to finish up or get ready for next year, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. All right, see ya. Bye.